Hello there. No one's quite tuned in yet, so that's sort of okay. Let's put him up there like that. That's fine too. Just wondering, I need to make another one. Well, at the moment, I am trying to make I'm making a sort of random pattern like this, and it starts off like this. So this is what I've got to make. This is only like a fraction of it. So I'll put you like that over there. That's okay, that's okay. I'll take my little pretty face out of the picture a little bit. Yeah, okay, that's fine. That can go there. This is here. I've got a few strips already made. This is my strip. And you should be able to see. Yeah, that's okay, isn't it? Or is it better? Let's have a look. It's a little better like that. There you go. Okay. Can I zoom out? Oh, there you go. But even better. So I'm just setting up the cameras a little bit. I have another screen over here, doing a Zoom session. I have my veneer gluing table here. Next to me here is my slicing table where I'm cutting up very thin slices like this. When they're cut, I lay them here, and then it's basically about building this up so that it makes something like this. And you saw the other one. This is just another start. The reason why I stopped with the other one, which was getting like here, was it can start to buckle up because it's made up of very small pieces. It can buckle up, and I don't really want to break it. And when I say buckle up, it's going to start to give. And I'm using a pressure bar wood to glue. You'll see how I'll do it later. Pushing it on, and it's fragile because these are very small, teeny weeny little pieces, as you can see. So, got some knives, got some extra blades, got my glue, tape. I've got some tape here too, which is good. So let's start to cut some. On the Zoom session that I have, I've got this camera here is showing up a close up, so that you can actually see that on the Zoom session. And what I'm going to do, my green, and I'm going to do
recording in progress.
Yeah. All right. So we just started to record the Zoom session. I have this little special knife here, which runs along this track. This special knife here that runs down along this track here. You might have seen it on the Marquetry jig on YouTube, so I'll go have a look at that. But this is what I'm using. Drop him in. Put you over there for now. This can go away. Push it down Nice and steady. Oh, now stop it. Nice and steady. There you go. Got another one cut. And I'll do this until I get like a little batch. Once I've got a little batch, it'll be as good as gold. Put that there. There's also another one. Let's do this one. Yeah. Did I do this one last time? I think I did that one last time. Yeah, that's a little bit off. You see that? That's not too bad. Hi there. Just got a little setup going on. They turn up and then they just go. Cool. Come on. Just put this on here. Give it a little bit more height. So I usually try and do Marquetry night every Wednesday, but just recently it's been quite difficult for me to do. So I'm thinking about doing the Marquetry session at least maybe once a month or 2 times a month, something like that. But it's just an open session where you're welcome to join in, come ask questions or show me what you're working on. If you've got any problems or difficulties as regards to Marquetry, then I'm happy to help and assist. Get you like that. Sorry about all this Judy stuff. I'll tweak it down when I need to. You can get to see what I'm doing now. Hi, John. I can't hear you.
No.
I can see you, I can hear you.
Awesome. All right. Let me get down to my I go down here. Let me change my right. I've already changed my
Is the I've got a close-up going on here. Is that good for you?
Yeah.
Okay, because I've got two cameras on.
All right, I'm gonna sit down here for now. All right.
How are you getting on?
I'm
Yep.
good to go here.
Yeah. Just move you over
And I
there.
got my stuff here going too.
Yes.
And I got my sand going. I got a couple of samples ready to go.
Oh, great. You've used your foil now.
Yeah, and that's how I got this.
Good. So it definitely made an improvement then.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic.
Darker the depths.
Yeah, oh, good.
On 1/16 inch. Can't get any darker.
Oh, that's fantastic.
1/32, it burns good.
Wow, wow, wow. That's pretty. It's pretty intense, isn't it? Is that tape that you use? Is that aluminium insulation tape, or is it actually just foil from the kitchen?
It's just foil from the kitchen, and I'm using yellow frog tape.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool.
Clear plastic wrap tape.
What I did find out, John, was previously I've been using like a paper tape. I used this just like paper tape previously, and it was okay. But what I did instead, the second time I did it, I just tried PVA and brush it on. And I just tried a little bit of wood glue, but it might be wise just to water it down just a little teeny bit, but just try it as it is. But just get like a little paintbrush, and paint it on. And I got a better result from that.
Okay.
And
it didn't stick too hard. Was it hard to get everything off?
Well, what you do, you put your low tack tape down first. Put your tape down first.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then
you glue it to the tape.
Yeah. And then you put your foil on, and then another layer. Yeah, I mean, if it's working for you, it's good. But I just found out that when I was experimenting, I thought I'll try the wood glue, and that worked just as well. It was a better grip, and I thought that it had improved it slightly. And you can, because you use so maybe that'll.
I'll try it.
Yeah, give it a go.
To get closer to the outline with a more liquid glue.
Yeah.
I use this little brush and cut off the end to make it stiffer, so I can get right up to the edge. Well,
you can also cut it at an angle, like that.
Yeah.
So as a tip,
That's an idea.
But when I saw your pictures, I looked at your pan, and I thought, well, it's a frying pan. And I specifically used like a deep pan in my experiment, the one that I did. And the idea is you've got a big pan, the heat is evaporating, it's leaving the sand, it's going. But if you've got a concentrated area, like a pan, let's have a look. I'm trying. I'm still here. So, I mean, this was mine. This is one that I used. But I also found like a little baby one too.
Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah. It was in like a thrift store, I thought, great.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got this too, but these pans were fine. And what's happening is that you've got your sand in, and it's basically a lot of surface area. There's a lot more space, so it's evaporating the heat. And I don't think that helps. And what I like about a pan is you don't need to put as much sand in before you'll get depth. And it's all concentrated. And what I was doing, it's just about trying to keep it as a small amount as possible. So when you pick it up, and I tried to keep the location to where I was burning and the sand or the hot sand as close as possible without setting the place on fire. If you look at the video, I was pretty close because I didn't want that to cool down too much.
Got it.
And did you see the spoons?
Yeah.
Did you bang them in? Oh, that's fantastic.
idea.
You did a great job with that one.
Did you get my photos from last night?
I think I looked this morning. I might not have done.
Okay.
I know I saw some pictures with like your experiments that what you'd done. I did see some, but if you sent some new ones, I might not have actually seen it.
Trying to figure out how to switch my camera around.
If you tap on your face, it should, a little icon should pop up like the camera. So I've got a live session going on as well, and I've got a Zoom. Now we might get one or two other people popping in later, but we just have to go with the flow.
I thought for some reason I cannot get the other cameras to swap around. But anyways, I'll use this one.
Yeah, okay.
And show you my little pot.
Oh yeah, I like it. You got your gas canister. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I got about a half-inch sand in there.
Yeah.
And I got that propane burner now, which really gets the heat up there.
Yeah. I mean,
I think I ruined my wife's pan.
oh, did you? But yeah, you've got good sand there. See, I mean, I usually start people off who are doing like marquetry. I just say, look, just get some street sand, and if I can train them up good enough on that, when they get onto the fine stuff that you've got, when they really commit themselves, then because I have some of that fine stuff myself, but I think yours is a little finer than mine. Yeah, you're going to get a better quality from that. It's going to be a lot more consistent and more refined. But from what I've seen there, you've got some good results from shadow casting. And you know what you can do, John? If one layer of foil isn't enough, I always go for two. Because what happens is, like, you know, when you put your heat on, when you put your sand on, because I experimented with this for like years and on and off practicing and doing stuff, and I found out certain things that were tape's okay at low temperatures, but the higher you go, it has a tendency to bleed out, that the tape no longer is able to defend. And then I looked at science, and I knew that like metal will absorb heat. Like, for instance, if you get a glass and put hot water into it, it normally will shatter. But the more, if you put in a spoon or a metal fork, it won't, because the heat gets pulled out of the initial shock, gets pulled out and pulled into the metal. Yeah. So that was the idea with the foil.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. When I was trying to get this darker and darker and darker, I just kept burning and burning and burning, and after a while the tape started to burn.
Yeah.
And the foil wasn't doing its job anymore because it was so hot.
Yeah.
But I think this is 1/16 inch.
Yeah.
And the foil, and both of them acted like a heat sink and just wouldn't allow this to burn anymore.
No, okay. You've done a great job.
I think we'll burn just fine, and I may need 2 coats of foil if it burns too quickly.
Yeah, just go try two layers. And again, I think what happened with this particular glue, if you put it on too much, it tends to bubble up a little bit. It tends to bubble up, and what happens is it starts to fail, and the tape will start to, like you said, it will start to buckle up. And you don't want that, because what happens is that the sand then gets under.
Saw that, yeah.
And it starts to go, you know. So the idea is, what I tend to do is get my samples up ready, and I start to figure out how hot it is, how many seconds. Because what I'm trying to do, John, I'm trying to basically get it so that I know what's going on in my head here, getting it from the pan on there to the minimum amount that I need, and then get it off, so that it doesn't start to bleed, so it doesn't start to burn, so it doesn't start to break down my entire work. And because I've done the samples, I know, you know, what's happening, and that's why I count, you know, how many seconds. And sometimes, I'll be honest with you, I've had to do it 2 or 3 times, but that's also good to build it up. but try not to just forward on there. Try and sort of guide the sand on really gently. And what you find is, as you put the sand on, you get your first layer in there. And as you put the next layer, the heat from that sand goes back into the sand that's already in there.
Yeah.
And that's really sort of like, it sort of starts to build up, you know. But
you're doing this on finished pieces.
Yes.
So you gotta know that it's gonna work. That's why you gotta do the test.
Yes. Well, this was the idea of shadow casting, was the fact that sometimes there are shapes that are very hard to dip in the sand. They're too complicated, or they're too small, or they're almost impossible where the location is to actually get the shading in.
Yeah.
So that's why this was basically devised, was to like do it afterwards. The other thing that you'll find, John, is like with veneers, you probably know yourself, is it's something that I do with people when I do like an experiment with them on a demonstration. We do like a cube, we dip the sand in, dip it in the hot sand. I say, like, let's put it back together. And the moment they put it back together, it's like, hey, wait a minute, there's some gaps. It's shrank. And this, especially with veneer, it will contract. It loses moisture. It goes dry and it contracts, it shrinks and it becomes smaller. And for a marqueterian trying to do fine end stuff, those gaps are not good enough. So most of the time you've got to overcut, burn, shrink, and then recut. And it's a bit of a process. So doing shadow casting afterwards is a bit of an advantage. But like you just said, the thing is, you've got it ready. You really can't be making mistakes at that level, you know.
Yeah.
But the advantage,
100 hours into a piece, and your sand gets blown over on everything else or something. It could ruin the whole thing in 10 seconds.
Yeah. So
ways to practice.
Yeah, which was part of the reason why I went a little bit over the top on the tape video, because I wanted to people understand the layers and the fact that try and make it more spacious in case you do get any runoff of the sand.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. But it sounds to me like you've already like started now to get your head around this. You've made improvements. You've got better heat. You've used foil, and it sounds to me like you're getting there. And you did a curve as well, you know, so that's quite interesting.
I did a curve, and now I'm going to try a circle.
That's interesting.
So I've got the clear tape on this. I just got to follow it up with the yellow tape, and I'm ready to burn it.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I when I did the curves on the thing that I did, I don't know if I've got it up here anymore, but it was like to try and create like a shadow, you know, and I didn't want to overdo it a little bit on the shadow on the thing. But what I like about shadow casting is that it's exactly what it's for, really. Is, for instance, if you've done like a picture of a vase in Marquetry and you've got some sand shading going on, but it goes onto the background veneer where there would be a shadow, it can be hard to do that. I mean, there are ways to do it, but shadow casting is a way to do it after. But you can also put the tape on, or do this with veneer before you press it. But the only disadvantage is make sure it's oversized, because it's going to warp, it's potentially going to curl, and it's going to shrink. So if you've done like a real precision job and it's all perfect and you're ready to get it back in, or I'll quickly sand, you know, do the shading, then it's going to distort. So you've got to be really aware that it should be like, you should allow lots of space around and then do it. And then if it shrinks, you can fix that before you actually put it in as a part of the finished piece. You know,
the only way I've seen other people do irregular shaped shadows is with different colored veneer, and they will cut it in. They don't normally burn in a circular shadow or something, because it's almost impossible to control it that way.
No,
they
but
cut it in with a darker veneer, and it kind of takes away from the reality of it.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. That, I mean, that's what I like about sand shading is you get that really, if you can do it really well and pull it off, you get a beautiful tone on it. You get you make it a lot more. It's a form of enhancing what you're doing in my book.
It is, yeah.
I'm not really a fan of putting in dark woods unless I really have to. I would always go for the sand shading process. And yeah, like I said, most people, they just dip their veneer in. I've seen it done very good, and I've seen it done very bad. But this is like another dimension. This is like an extra. What you're able to do now is a little bit more than just like dipping it in hot sand.
Oh, it definitely is. Yeah, I've never seen anybody do a circular shadow before.
No. Well, you're soon to be a pioneer as well, you know, by the looks of it, which is good.
Well, a copycat maybe.
No, but it's
I
good.
appreciate you sharing your knowledge. That's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I've been doing this for over a year now. I'm a professional craftsman, and marquetry is my thing. And I know there's so many people out there having so much time, so much struggling, trying to get people who will help them. And I'll be honest with you, I've also wanted to find out about colored veneers and how to dye your own. And I'll tell you what, John, sometimes it's like getting blood out of a stone. It's been frustrating that the people who have the knowledge and they just don't want to, and it's a shame. But I'm not like that. I'm really all for helping and assisting, and that's what I do. I've only on this meeting, I've probably got maybe I've got 7 minutes left, and I'll restart it again because I'm expecting another lady hopefully popping along later tonight. But you know. But what we have in this Zoom session is better than what's live because I can see you, and if you've got questions, I'm there for you. Where if I'm doing live, I'm just talking one way and reading what people say, you know. So I like this.
Yeah. Yeah, this is helpful. You know, one thing I was doing, I found myself cutting with too much pressure, and I was leaving marks in the veneer with my knife. So I started just letting the knife do the work and not applying any pressure, and found out that it still cuts the tape and the foil, but I didn't have to apply any pressure to it. So this very sharp knife will do that.
But I do believe that you do most of your marquetry with a saw, or do you do?
I do a lot of it with the saw. Yeah. And I just started doing front saw work.
Yeah, okay.
Front saw.
Yeah.
Because I can get really accurate cuts that way, and very small pieces that I couldn't do with a scroll saw.
Okay.
So I'm playing around with that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't use a saw for me. Everything that I do is like, you know, 16th veneer, just talking typical veneer, and I use a scalpel. I do it.
So you work with 1/16 inch?
Yeah, very thin. Yeah. Just cut through with a knife, and I do a technique which is called the reverse window method, and it's basically because like the knife is a V. You know, if you look at it under a microscope, it's leaving a V in the. Yeah. So it's open on the back and really precise on the front. So I work from the back, and then all the things are generally very precise. Yeah. Some people say it's cheating, but it's not. It's just using a technique and knowing that knowledge to your advantage. You know. So I've got to send you an invite into All About Marquetry on Facebook. I don't know if I've said.
Is it a closed group?
It is a private group. So I'll send you an invite, or you can probably look on Facebook and type in All About Marquetry, and there's tons. I mean, you'll see how much sort of stuff I've done on veneer maintenance. On this particular, this is a jig, and it's for cutting veneers. It's called like a parquetry, you know, all sorts of stuff. How to hold a knife correctly and all stuff like that. Colored veneers is on there too, or that knowledge that I've acquired. So it might be interesting.
Do you have a problem buying colored veneer over where you are?
A little bit. It's got better now. I was contacting companies and they weren't writing back. And then the company in Italy I spoke to, and they just sent me a pack, loads of packs of veneer for free, coloured veneers. And that is the reason why I started to do my own colours, because and also because I want control over the sort of blues that I want. So, I mean, I've been experimenting now with coloured veneers, and the idea is that when I start a product, a new design, I'll look at the colours, I'll make those colours up, and I want full control, because some of the work that I'm doing, like let's say for instance the sea, in one small speck of veneer work, you'll find that it's a combination of like 12 different blues, to make it look realistic. And that's what I want, and I want control. And when I go and look on the market, I can maybe find 4 or 5 different colored blues, and then they'll say you can buy other blues, but you've got to buy a full sheet, which has cost me a lot of money for one full sheet, and that's a little too much. If I was a big company and I was making furniture like that, then it could be buying big sheets of one color. So that's why I'm making my own.
I understand. When I took my first Marquetry course 5 or 6, and now they don't even do it anymore. They just buy it because it's so readily available.
Yeah.
So, all the big veneer suppliers have colored veneer now. But like you're saying, if you want it down to the nth degree of a shade, you've got to do it yourself.
Yeah. I mean, that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going with the work that I'm working on. I've got
the biggest thing I found in dyeing veneer is you have to get rid of the tannins in the wood first. So you just gotta cook the wood until no more color comes out of it, and then you'll have a consistent dyed product every time, because the tannins is what changes it. The variability in the wood, depending on how much tannins in it, will make it darker or lighter every batch. So once you cook all the tannin out of the veneer, then you can apply your dyes, and it'll be consistent every time.
Yeah. Well, I've been using like popular wood, but I've also been bleaching. When I've been boiling it, I've been putting bleach in to try and break that down, just to try and get any of those chemicals out of the wood, So when this kicks us out in about a minute or two, I will restart the session again, because I have a Zoom. I have a professional account with Zoom, so I only get like 40 minutes, which is most of the time it's usually enough, and I just reset it. So if this goes and I don't get to say goodbye, I'll just start it up again. It should just follow the same link.
Same link, okay.
Yeah, give it maybe a minute or 30 seconds or whatever.
Yeah.
Just so that I just don't go blank and it's all, etc. Just so that So I think we've got like 60 seconds. Okay. And what I'll do. Yeah, what I'll do, I'll send you an invite right now through Facebook, and then you can have a quick nosy. Okay. All right, John. I'll speak to you in a minute or two. Okay.
All righty then.